Okay, so let's start. You two first met in the United States.
That's correct.
First, why did you go to the United States? Why? Working travel program, but why? Why did you decide to go there? Both of you.
Okay, for me, I always wanted to go since I was 18, because it felt like a free pass to travel to the United States and not have to spend too much money and still spend a long time in the United States and also make some money. So that's why I chose to go, just to make money out.
Just not to meet a girl, no.
No, not to meet a girl.
Well, I actually went to the United States being in a relationship in Serbia, so it definitely didn't went to meet a guy. But I went because I knew, since you know Serbian economy, you don't really have the opportunity to just hop on the plane and see the United States. So I thought this is a very good opportunity to just go, see, and work.
And for how long were you there?
It was like
5 months.
Yeah, 5 months close. Yeah.
You were there first, right?
Yeah, she was there first. She was already working before I got there, so she was like my boss.
Then you got there, you were the new guy.
Yeah, I was a new guy.
So how does it? You said you didn't like her.
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't like her at first. As a matter of fact, it was more like, it was close to hate, but not hate. I don't want to say she was bossy, but she wasn't bossy. She was just doing her job. Nobody likes the boss.
Tell us what was when the first time you met, how that looked like.
She walked into the office. She was talking to a lady. I mean, I saw her. Obviously, she's a pretty girl. I mean, I saw her, but that wasn't my goal at that time. I just wanted to just make money and go back home, So yeah, actually, I know I'm not gonna deny the fact that I didn't think she was pretty at first. I thought she was pretty at first, but her first approach towards me was what I didn't like, because when you meet someone for the first time and they tell you this person is going to be working with you, at least you ask, what's your name? Where are you from? The basic questions when you meet someone for the first time. But she was like, you the new guy? I said, yes. And she's like, okay, when you're done with that paper, I need you to go clean tables in the back. So that is not a good first impression, That turned me off.
Can I explain myself? That was because at that time I was working alone in a fast food restaurant. Now imagine how hard it is to keep everything clean and to have people served. And I had to run back to get something. So someone told me, the new guy's there, and I was like, oh, finally someone's here to help me. So I didn't have time for small talk. People were waiting in the fast food restaurant. So sorry for not asking your name.
So when you saw him, what did you think first?
I don't know. Nothing really, I was so busy.
When you saw him the second time, what did you think then?
The second time he annoyed me so much because he started cleaning the tables and he had his headphones in, and I thought it's so rude. Like, first day at work and I have to hey, sorry. 5 times, and then he's like, what?
See, that's more reason why I didn't like her, because first of all, she didn't ask for my name, and second time she's telling me to take off my headphones. She's already being bossy.
I didn't ask you to take them off just until I talk to you. Is that too much?
And how long did that last, before you started going out?
Well, he actually didn't approach until I broke up with my boyfriend, which was very cute, and I broke up for some other reason, nothing to do with him. I didn't even know he likes.
For the first 2 months, for the first month I didn't like her, because when I got to start working and I met other co-workers didn't like her too, and that doesn't help. So if everyone doesn't like and you're the new guy, you just learn from the other people and you don't like her too. But as time went by, I got to understand that she's just trying to do her job. She's actually a good person. She's just trying to do her job. The overall boss is always on her neck, always telling her to put us in check. So she's only doing what she's being asked to do. And as time went by, when you start working with people, you start getting people's contacts. So I got her contact and we started texting and we were friends. I knew she had a boyfriend, and at first, like I said, I just thought she was pretty. At first, I just thought she was pretty. I didn't like her guts, but as time went by, I started to, get used to her and get comfortable with her. And then, like she said, I didn't make any move until I actually eavesdropped. I heard her talking to someone saying how she broke up with her boyfriend and stuff, and I was like, okay, it's time to make my move,
And what was the first move? What did you do?
Well, at first we were just texting, and then one time it was very, very hot. It was in the summer. It was very, very hot, and we worked on an island, and I was just talking about how it's so hot that I would love to, jump in the lake and, have a swim and get myself cool. And I said it purposely because I was hoping she would hear and offer to come. And luckily she said, why not? Let's go together, And that was the first time we ever hung out together. And at that night, when it was time to go to the beach, I was actually skeptical because I'm a very shy guy. It's not really easy for me to approach someone. So I was...
You don't seem that way.
I gave him all this confidence.
I started rethinking my decision, like why did I ask her out and all that. And I was like, I'm not going to contact her. If she doesn't contact me tomorrow, I'll just lie to her that I slept off. Luckily for me, she texted me and said she's waiting for me. So I guess she was excited too. So yeah, when we went to the beach, I don't know how to swim, so I just stayed.
That's a good idea for first date.
Right?
I just stayed closer to the shores. I didn't swim. She went in the water, so we just spoke. The first time, I got to know a lot about her. We spoke about each other's family.
And I got to know a lot about him. What I liked about that first date, he put everything out immediately. He said, I'm a Muslim. I have no problem with it. My dad has 3 wives. I don't have a problem with that as long as, I'm not going to be asked to do the same, But, I felt like it's very nice that he just put it out just in case I had a problem with it,
And you didn't have a problem because he asked you on first date basically that you should take off your clothes because you were going swimming.
Oh. Well, we're going to swim. You're going to have to take off your clothes anyways.
Not all of them. I had bathing suit on for the record.
So you like that idea for the first date?
Yeah, it was nice. But it was very funny that he actually doesn't know how to swim. Why would you invite him?
Well, swimming isn't really a black man's thing.
Okay, then you liked each other. Then what was the deciding point where you decided you are going to be in a relationship? What was?
Okay, after the first date, it was nice. I liked it. I had fun with her, and I think she did the same. So we decided to go again another day. So this time was supposed to be like a romantic dinner date, but still at the beach. So
you don't really get privacy on that island because it's a very small island.
It's a very small island, so everyone's everywhere, and we didn't really want to put it out there that we're seeing or going on a date, So before she came, I decided to stop over at a pizza store, and I bought a big pizza and some drinks, and we went to the beach, just the both of us, and we sat down, we ate, we had a chat. It was too cold to swim, so we just laid down and we just chatting, and I just made my move. I kissed her.
He didn't kiss me on the first date.
So when I kissed her, I felt like, I'd done something wrong, because what if she doesn't like me like I think she does, and she's my boss, so that could go so many wrong ways. Then I apologized, and she said, no, don't apologize, I've been waiting for you to kiss me. So that's kind of how we started. That was our first contact.
So that pizza was probably very good.
Yeah, he ate most of it though, but it's okay. I had maybe 2 slices, the rest he ate. As you can see, he's a big man.
Yeah, what did you like about him then? You knew him better?
Yeah, I knew him, and the thing that I liked most about him was the honesty about everything. And even while we were working the whole summer together, he would never go behind your back, which was very rare there in the US. Like, everyone would stab everyone in the back. That was my experience there. But he would just, if he doesn't like something, he's gonna come to you and tell you. I didn't like that, unlike other people. So I like that about him, because honesty is very important for me. And he was so cute as well, because he's so big, but he's so, I don't know how to explain it.
Like I said, I'm shy and I'm a little goofy, so it doesn't go with my size. When you see a big guy, you expect a very serious person, but I'm not that kind of person.
And I also love that I can wear high heels with him.
No.
Biggest that I had, not a problem. I'm still not taller than him.
How high? How
tall I am?
Yeah.
Almost 2 meters.
Yeah, almost 200 centimeters, but in 6'5". That's how I am.
So that was how long were you in the United States after that second date, after you were together officially?
Just a month and 2 weeks.
And then you go.
A month and 2 weeks, and we had to
You
part
stayed in the
ways.
US.
Yeah, I stayed back in the US. She had to go back home, and it wasn't really easy for us because we just got into a relationship. And like she said, the island is very small, so you can't really keep things in private. So everyone knew we were dating already. Well, at least we were able to hide it for 2 weeks, and then after 2 weeks, it was obvious. So it wasn't easy. We just got into a relationship. Everyone was like, "You guys are so cute. You guys are so cute." And then we had to separate into long distance, and we weren't even sure if we're ever going to see each other again. And she was a little skeptical about getting into a relationship because we're going to have to separate. But then I said, well, why not just, my first thought was, why not just enjoy it while it lasts? And then later on, while we're enjoying it while it lasts, I got to like her more. And I said, well, we have to try long distance. It might not work, but you can't be sure it's not gonna work if you don't try. So we said, let's try, let's just try and see how it goes. So she went back home, I stayed back in the US, I moved to Texas. And it wasn't easy at first because that was like I've never been in a long distance relationship before, so I don't really know how it works. And we had issues because she wanted us to talk
Watch
every
your
day.
words.
She wanted us to talk every day, but I wasn't into talking every day. I didn't want to speak every day on the phone. And when you call a girl, especially on FaceTime, you're not going to talk for 1 hour or 2 hours. It's going to be 3, 4, 5 hours.
That's a lot.
We had a lot of issues at first, and we were always fighting. And I wasn't going to lose her just because I didn't want to talk for long hours. So I had to give in. So we started talking every day, basically. We used to talk during my lunch breaks at work, which was 30 minutes. So
That's short.
Very smart, isn't it?
I decided to use that because it's just 30 minutes. 30 minutes and we're done. So after that, we decided to meet again because it was from October until March. That was like almost 5 months, right? Or 6 months. We were in a long distance at first. So we decided to, take a break from that long distance, and she didn't want to come back to the US anymore because she didn't she didn't have a good first experience in the US. Like she said, a lot of people were backstabbing her. People didn't really she didn't like that. She didn't want to come back to the US. And I wanted to stay in the US. So we had a little conflict with that one too.
Like a two-month-long conflict. Who's giving in?
So we decided to meet again, and she came to the US for 2 weeks. We spent 2 weeks together in Texas, and that was when we made the decision that I was going to move down to Serbia. So I had to give in.
Again.
Again.
That was your point of view. It was a very long point of view. Now tell me yours.
Okay.
Now, I'm a very practical woman. Now, he had a visa for the US that was going to expire eventually, and I have a Hungarian passport. So if we are planning a nice life, we'll see where life gets us, but I have EU passport, so if anything, we can just go and live a nice life closer. He's yet to see the difference between the EU, between Europe with Serbia and the US. Europe as a continent and not as European Union. So I know that difference because I have traveled in Europe and I have been in the US, and I see a huge difference. I just don't like it there. But he doesn't see it yet because he had never been in Europe. So I kept telling him, just trust me on this one, it's better here, just come here. It's gonna be fine. And since he's here, did you regret it?
Well, no. I'm actually having fun in Serbia. There's beautiful people here.
For how long are you here?
Well, I've been here since August. I moved here in August. So, like 5 months. 5 months. I'm still trying to catch up on the language. That's my only problem now.
However, she didn't answer my question.
Yeah, you didn't answer his question.
What was the question?
The question was when you were going back to Serbia. What was your opinion? Is it going to last? No.
I honestly had very low hopes that it's gonna last because unlike him, I was in a long distance before, and I'm a difficult person, and I know that. Like I need attention. I need attention. You don't remind me every day that you love me and how great I am. Forget that you love me. I know my flaws.
That's very true.
So I was very skeptical, and we had so many fights when I thought, like, that's it, I can't handle it anymore. And he was the one who didn't give it up. And after some time, we set some ground rules, like at least a little talk to me every day. It's very important for me. And it wasn't 3, 4, 5 hours. It was tops 2 hours.
Let's just agree
We
to
started
disagree.
talking 3 hours when you were unemployed for that 1 month.
Yeah.
That's when we talked 3 hours. But that's because you had nothing else to do. So,
Were you thinking of getting back to Nigeria after your trip to the United States? Or you were planning to stay there?
Well, I got a 2 years visa. I still had to renew the work visa. So yeah, I had plans of going back, but then I thought about if I go back, it's gonna be very difficult to come back to the United States to meet her, because the plan at first was she's gonna come back next summer to work.
When was the last time you were home?
2016, June. That was the last time I was home. After I left, I haven't been back. But I actually plan on going back soon.
Were you thinking of bringing her
Yeah,
back?
my mom really wants to meet her. Everyone wants to meet her. My whole family wants to meet her, so I have to go with her.
But were you thinking to bring her with you to live there in Nigeria?
To live in Nigeria?
Yeah.
I don't even want to live in Nigeria.
Why? You have friends.
Well, because I mean, I hear a lot of people complain about the Serbian economy. It's, as much as the Serbian economy is bad, it's still better compared to the Nigerian economy, and it's not even looking promising in Nigeria. So I don't even have any plans of going back to live there. Maybe when I become a millionaire.
Notice the when and not the if in this sentence.
So for now, it's just I'm just going to be going back home and visiting and trying to find my way back to
That's
Serbia
why
again.
you're recording, to be a millionaire, right? On YouTube.
Yeah, hopefully
That's the first
make some money. It's not easy, but
Yeah.
It's-
Actually, our YouTube channel is doing surprisingly well for
We'll
starting.
talk about it, don't worry.
yeah.
Tell me then about your life here. How
Well, when I first got here, it wasn't really easy because I got a lot of attention.
did you know anything about Serbia?
Nothing.
He got here on Dani Piva,
Yeah.
so imagine all the people and all the eyes.
I knew nothing. The only thing I knew was she was always telling me that when I come to Serbia, people are going to stare at me a lot. And it's not in a racist way, it's just because they don't really see black people around. But I didn't believe that because everywhere I've been to, as a black person, you're a minority, No one wants to hang around with you because of the little stereotypes and all that. And it's actually different because I'm African. We have a different upbringing. We act differently. So it wasn't really easy, people judging me based on what they've seen in the US when I was in the US. So when I got here, it wasn't easy also because everyone was staring at me. It wasn't easy. Imagine going out in Dani Piva because the whole city center is always very much crowded. And when I'm walking, everyone's looking at me, and I couldn't figure out if am I dressed wrongly or. And she kept telling me it's because I'm black. It's because I'm black. And my first day here, my first night, we went to the city center because there was a little show, and about 3 people came asking to take pictures with me, which I found very weird because I'm not a celebrity. Why do you want to take pictures with me? And I got a lot of stares and a lot of wavings
And high fives.
and high fives also. Some people even just come and kiss me and say, "My brother." So yeah, it's been very amazing. Everything about here is nice. I love the weather. When I got here, it was very hot. It was still hot, but as time went by, it started getting cold. I love the cold weather. It favors me a lot, and the food is very nice too. And I like the Serbian spirit of being happy even though everything is not going well. everyone's still trying to have fun. You know, everyone still wants to party. I like partying a lot, so everything kind of suits me. The food is good, the drinks are nice, the people are very welcoming, you know, and everyone's always inviting me to go out or come over to their house and have fun. So it's very nice. The only bad experience I've had so far is, well, I was trying to extend my stay, and it wasn't easy because the paperwork, they made it so difficult for me. Every office I go, I'm missing a stamp. They always ask me to go back and get one stamp, get one paperwork. It hasn't been easy. That's the only bad experience. But aside that, everything has been very nice.
Don't worry, I don't have health insurance. I tried to fix that today, it didn't work. So.
Yeah, I told him that's a thing in Serbia.
And then that's impossible.
Paperwork.
So how did people, you know, react to him? Were they welcoming? Were they surprised?
Well, first, when I told my mom that I'm dating a black man, I think she almost cried. But that was just because she had never been in touch with that culture. And obviously every mother would be worried. And I'm very honest to my mom, so I told her immediately everything about him. So of course she got scared for a second. But then, because I told her that back when I was in the US, and I kept telling her stories about where we went, what we did. So he started understanding that it's okay. So when I came home and we kept FaceTiming, sometimes I showed him to my mom, and she slowly got used to it. And I'm actually very lucky. My whole family is very, very supportive. No one had ever, no one, no one who is important have ever questioned my decision. And my mom just told me, I trust you because I know you know what you're doing. So if that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. So when I told her that he's gonna come, she was like, okay. And since they're here, my mom loves him because he's just adorable. Yeah, and they can't really speak because my mom doesn't speak English. He barely speaks Serbian. Not talking about Hungarian,
that's
he tried
why I
it.
love each other. Yeah,
That's why I liked. But then, and my mom cannot do nothing else but just stare at him, and he's always like, "Your mom's staring at me." I told her, "Mom, stop staring at him." Well, I can't talk to him. At least I look at him. Then.
Well, we have very short conversations on the little Serbian I can speak, and when she's saying something I don't understand, she just makes sign languages, and I understand. So.
Yeah.
Her family has been very, very welcoming, actually, surprisingly. I hid it a lot from my mom at first because I remember when I was traveling out, she kept saying the same thing. Don't bring back home a white girl. Growing up, she always told me that she doesn't want a white girl because if you watch American movies, when the couples have a fight, the wife kicks the man out. They get a divorce, she takes the kids, she takes half the property. Yeah. So every African mom has a mentality of a white woman like that. So they don't really support their kids going for white girls. So she kept telling me, don't come back home with a white girl. So it was very difficult. It wasn't easy telling her I was dating a white girl. So when I first told her, she heard it, but she didn't really take me seriously because she thought, I'm coming back home. We're going to get into a long distance, it's going to fade. So she didn't think it was going to go anywhere serious. So she didn't really react at first, but as time went by, every time I still mentioned Leona, she's like, you guys are still dating? And I said, yes, Mom, it's serious, you better just accept her. And as time went by, apparently, she saw, okay, we're going seriously, and she accepted. And now she and Leona are like the best of friends. She calls and texts Leona every day. And about last month, she sent a whole big box, a package filled with African attires for Leona. So yeah, it wasn't easy telling her. She didn't really take me seriously at first. She didn't like the idea, but she got used to it. And one of our YouTube episodes, I actually called her, but I didn't tell her we were recording. And I asked her the first time I told her about Leona, what was her first thinking, what was her first reaction. And she said she didn't like it because she always wanted me to marry an African lady. But she has to respect my decisions. She sees that that's what I like, that's who I want, and she has no option than to like what I like. And
also she told him, all right, but that's the only one then.
Yeah.
This one girl.
She keeps talking about how I should. She's always talking about how I should never break her heart. I should never think about any other woman except her, and that if I ever think of marrying another wife besides her, she's gonna break my head. So
like you just far away.
trust
I'm
me,
gonna break his head if he tries that too.
it doesn't cost her anything to travel here just to come break my head.
I'll send her the money for the ticket.
When you talk to his mom, what's that like? What are you talking about?
Oh, first few times first for a very long time actually, it was very difficult because they have a special accent, so it was very hard for me to understand her. And then in Africa, being polite and appreciate older people is very important. Every sentence has to have ma'am or thank you ma'am, all right ma'am, whatever. We don't really do that here in Serbia. Like you appreciate it, but not too much. And then I was always scared when she was calling. I'm like, oh my god, she's calling. But then with time I got used to her calling, and now it's actually not a problem. Whenever she calls, I pick up, we talk. I got the hang of it, how to talk to her, because I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to prove her right about white girls being disrespectful. So now we're actually on very good terms.
Although sometimes when they talk, she speaks the local, because we have a local language besides English. English is our national language in Nigeria, but we have our own different local language. We have 700 different ethnic groups. So she sometimes speaks the local languages to Leona, and I've been teaching her a little, so sometimes they communicate with the local language, and she gets so excited when Leona speaks the language.
What were you expecting, you know?
What was I expecting here?
What were you expecting? Like, you will come here, and how will it look like?
I've never been to Serbia, so I didn't know how it was going to look. All I know about Europe is what I see in the movies. Tiny streets, small cars. So that's all I imagined. I didn't have any imagination of this place. So when I got here, it was actually beautiful. It's very different. Like, it's different from the US. When I first got to the US, I saw big roads, big cars. That's everything I see in Nigeria. There was nothing different. Big skyscrapers. I wasn't thrilled. But here in Serbia, it's different. Everything is a little cultural. Like the architects, the architectures, the buildings, they're old buildings, but they're still standing firm. You know, everything is like old style, but modernized. If you understand what I mean. Like if you go to Belgrade, you see those big old buildings, but they're still beautiful. You go to Novi Sad, the same thing. So it was. If you're talking about beauty-wise, yeah, I was mind blown.
Although when he was landing, he said, when he first saw, well, he didn't flew over Belgrade, but you know, on the side, and he said it looked like Nigeria. It looks like he's landing in Abuja, and I said, well,
because from the plane, what I do whenever I'm traveling to any city, from the plane, I look at the view. You know, landing into Serbia, it was just bushes. I didn't see any building. So it wasn't. But when I started driving into the city and driving into Zrenjanin, it was very beautiful. Yeah.
So what did you do first when you come here, Serbia?
When I first came, well, we had lunch, and that was my first contact with rakia. And when you first have contact with Serbians, they will always offer you rakia, and everybody will always tell you that they have the best rakia.
Okay.
So to celebrate my coming, her family, we had a lunch, and they poured us rakia in the small shot glasses. And I've never had contact with that kind of thing before. You know, my thinking is when you're given a shot glass with alcohol in it, you just, you know, just like vodka. Yeah. So we cheered, and everyone was sipping, and I was wondering why they were sipping. So I just, you know, took it once, and everyone was like, no. But I didn't understand. I already took the shot, and they were like, you shouldn't have taken a shot just like that. You know, you're supposed to sip it. And it was like just 1 minute or 2 minutes later, I was already starting to sweat. I was sweating. I was already feeling the effect. It was very strong, and I had to go sleep because it was strong for me. So I had to go sleep. I didn't wake up. I landed. I got into Zrenjanin at about 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. And I slept after that one shot of rakia. I didn't wake up until like 10 p.m. at night. So when I woke up, I heard all the noise outside. I was wondering, it's late, why are people still outside? And then she said, it's the beer festival, Dani Piva. So we decided to go out and see. And it was very nice. I tried different food. I tried the Serbian beers. I went to the square where the music was. It was very beautiful. It was very nice. That was the first thing I did.
I'm actually happy that he came at Dani Piva because he has a nice first impression. Imagine if he came when the streets are empty
No
like
one's
this.
around.
Yeah, I remember she kept telling me that don't get too used to it. There's not this many people in Zrenjanin usually. And when Dani Piva ended, it was kind of weird. Zrenjanin just became dull again, you know. It was quiet again, but I apparently got used to it. I love Zrenjanin a lot. Every time I go to Belgrade, I'm always looking forward to coming back here because life here is very simple, you know.
Yes.
Very simple. No noise, just calm, relaxed. That's why I like this place a lot.
What's the plan for the future for you two?
Okay.
We don't really have a plan.
Well, I mean,
Close future, not like.
Okay. Close future. Actually, for now, I was able to extend my stay here in Serbia, but I can't work. I can just leave, but no working.
He needs a work permit, which is not that easy to get since there's so many unemployed people in Serbia.
Yeah, and it hasn't been easy for almost 6 months now, not working, just living life. Although sometimes I help her mom because her mom owns the Svečara Daruši, the flower shop. So I sometimes help her mom with at the greenhouse
And deliveries.
And I also help them control their social media account, their Instagram account.
We're not sure we want to go the way everyone goes, you know?
Yeah, we're trying to do things differently, so we might be
Obviously we're doing this.
we might be thinking of going to any other European country.
But not permanently.
Not permanently. Serbia is officially my new home, my second new home. Nigeria is still my first home. So, not permanently, but we're going to be going back and forth, you know. Wherever it is we're working, back to Serbia, Nigeria, just in a triangle, you know. That's the plan for now.
That's nice.
Because the problem with Serbia is that we actually have very big visions, but you know it's not easy to get money to invest in something if you're in Serbia. So the plan is to go hustle for a few months.
Come back and hustle. Come back and invest.
Invest. Hustle, invest, hustle, invest.
Maybe
That's
any
the
idea invest in what?
We're actually thinking of starting
So
a
many
nightclub.
Yeah.
A themed nightclub, because I've been to a lot of clubs here, and it's not a bad thing, but all the clubs play the same music every weekend.
Yeah.
And they're not versatile. They play just Serbian music, and it's not even just a certain kind of Serbian music. And I went to a party once. A local DJ from Zrenjanin hosted a party in Cafe Mat, and it was a rap party where he played rap music and
Was
some.
he like blonde?
Huh?
Was he blonde? Maybe.
No, he's not blonde.
No.
He has a beard.
Younger guy.
Yeah, late 20s, I guess, or mid 20s. Yeah. He has a beard. His Instagram name is Lupsuku or something like that. Pure Zrenjanin. He has a Facebook page, Pure Zrenjanin. And it was a very nice party. It was packed. It was full. And I was like, wow, so there's a lot of people in Zrenjanin who are into rap music and other kinds of music. So I decided that if I can make enough money, I can invest and make a nightclub that doesn't play just Serbian music, but everything, you know, a little bit of everything. So if you're not into one thing, you can still have fun with something, you know. So that's our plan for now.
But one of the plans, we actually want to sit on more. How I see it, and I saw it in the US, that people don't just invest in one thing and then just hope for it. No, you have to have more options just in case one is not working, then the other one's gonna work, you know? To have more, but that's why we need a lot of investment.
And
So.
you would do that in Zrenjanin.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I believe in Zrenjanin, if you ask me.
I honestly, really, truly think that it's gonna get better one day in Serbia. It has to. It's been hard for so long.
It doesn't have to, but it can.
It has to. That's how I see it. It has to, because it can't be bad for so long. One day it has to, and that day we're gonna be here.
I mean, if I'm gonna call Zrenjanin my second home, why not invest in something, you know?
And besides, so many people who are so who did so big things in their lives, the first, second, third business that they started didn't work out, you know?
Yeah.
It shouldn't discourage you, and
If
that's how we are.
If you don't
doing
fail, it means you're not trying, you know? You have to try. You can't just say, Zrenjanin, it might not work. You just have to try. It might work out, it might not. If it doesn't, you pick yourself back up and try again, you know?
Try something else maybe.
Exactly. So that's
the plan.
what we're thinking.
Okay, so on your YouTube channel,
Yeah.
you lied on your first video.
About what?
You told that you're the only black guy in Zrenjanin.
Yeah, when I first got here, that's what I thought.
There's one more.
Well, I wouldn't say
Guy or a lady?
a guy or a
A
lady.
Guy. I know a guy.
Oh, I haven't.
He's actually
We
a
haven't
priest.
seen him.
Is it-
Oh,
oh,
the
yeah,
Catholic
the
Church. But he's Indonesian,
He's in the gym.
and he's
Wow.
not as black as him.
our only other contact with a black person was a lady. If you saw one of our YouTube videos, she spoke about it. That we met because we saw the lady. We were walking and we saw her and she got so excited. Look, look, look. I'm like, why are you excited? I'm like, she's like, go talk to her. Go talk to her. I'm like, go talk to her about what? Hi, you're black. I'm black. So that was my first contact with another black person. So I didn't. Technically, I wasn't lying because I didn't know there was someone else.
And he's more brown than black, so
Yeah.
Okay, we'll say that doesn't count. So what are you planning to do with the YouTube channel? I mean, I know, you said, hi, hello, we're going talking about like anything, bye. Okay, can you tell us something more?
Okay. At first, the YouTube channel was supposed to be more about us because a lot of people ask us a lot. How did we meet? How is our parents? How are our parents taking it? How are friends reacting to it? So that was the first reason for the YouTube channel, and we plan to just have fun with it once in a while, do some little challenges. But then we started to realize that most of our videos about Serbia got more views. So now we decided to do a lot of things about Serbia. There's a misconception about Serbia not being safe. So I really want to change that because Serbia is a very beautiful place. I don't know what people mean by not being safe. The police is always everywhere.
for a reason again.
For a reason, exactly. It's not safe, but they're trying their best to keep it safe. And if you ask me, they're doing very good at that. The only time I see conflict is football games, and it's difficult to not have conflict. Football conflicts everywhere in the world. Even in England, there's football conflicts. Fans fight. In Germany, the same thing. So that's a very wrong stereotype
They
about.
don't end up naked. Like,
Yeah. That's a bad misconception about Serbia being unsafe. I'm trying to change that, So that's what the YouTube channel is going to be more like about now.
We're actually going to. My family's organized because we're gonna have an Irish guest tomorrow. We're going to pick him up in Belgrade. That's my boss from Ireland because I worked in a garden center. It's a long story. We're very in good terms, and I invited him just come and see Serbia, because it's actually beautiful. It's beautiful, and people wouldn't just think about going to a tourist center. I'm like, I want to go to Serbia.
Yeah, it's not
Because
the
it's
first.
not really. It's
That's
not,
what we want to try to promote. That Serbia is a beautiful place. Stories should come.
It is. So he told me I want to see the real thing. So we organized. I don't know if you say it like that
Pig
in
killing?
English. Pig killing. Like,
The tradition about killing pigs.
like
The whole day,
the
the
whole
Serbian tradition.
Oh,
Yeah, like
svinjokoj.
svinjokoj.
Aha, yeah.
So yeah, we're organizing it, and on Sunday we're doing it, and we decided to make a video about that one as
Ooh,
well.
that's gonna be bloody.
Yeah,
No,
we're
no,
gonna
we're
cut
not
all those
no,
parts.
we're not doing
We don't
that
want
part,
people to
exactly.
attack us.
I'm sure there's gonna be some vegans commenting, but oh
Yeah.
well.
Oh.
I think showing the true face of Serbia is now our priority in
Yeah,
the
the
YouTube
local
video.
culture. We also plan on doing an episode about Slava,
Yeah.
because that's also a Serbian culture. So just basically it's just about promoting, for now it's about promoting Serbian culture, and when we go to Nigeria, we plan on going to Nigeria soon. Also,
We're actually planning on driving there.
yeah,
Driving there.
yeah, through Europe and through the Middle East.
Serbian experience, so like Zastava 101 car, like no,
What?
Zastava car, you know the.
you know the
I told
worst car
you
in the
that-
world. Yugo and like
Oh,
Serbian
those
cars.
cars!
No,
I was surprised the first time I saw those cars. They were so tiny. It's like it's like just from. I don't think I can fit in that car. And the question I always ask all the time is, how do people? Because I see there are always 2 doors. Like you have seats in the back. How can people fit in that car? It's so tiny.
We have to say that
But
we came from Texas wherever
yeah.
was driving a pickup. You know?
And if you know, I always say it, how I would love to own one of those cars, those tiny
Yeah.
Yugos. It seems so fascinating, you know, and it seems like it's gonna cost a lot someday because it's not something you
Oh,
see
there's so
anywhere in
many
the
of
world.
them.
No,
so many of them.
I've never
Maybe
seen it.
100 years.
I've never seen it anywhere. Serbia is the first place I saw a car that small. And if you ask me, I'd like to own one. Just like to own a personal collection because it's rare to me.
It's
I
not a
mean,
collection.
to you guys, it's a big deal because you see it every day. But to
Yeah.
me, it's so much of a big deal for me seeing.
100 euros and it's yours.
Exactly.
It's just like how when she wears her African prints, a lot of people look at her because it's not something you see all the time. But to us, there it's basic. That's how it is for the cars to me.
We actually went out to Club Johnny's with my African attire, and people asked us where are we from, and I'm like, you up here, like, am I invisible or what? Only when I'm with a black man, that's when you realize I'm here.
Tell me more about that plan. Driving to Nigeria, is that even possible?
Well, yeah,
possible.
it's possible.
Yeah.
It's a 23 hours drive, right?
Yeah, if you don't stop.
If you don't stop, which is
We actually-
impossible. So it's probably gonna take a week to drive to Nigeria.
Well, I think it would be very nice actually, because he's gonna see so much of Europe,
Yeah,
and we're gonna be stopping and everything. We can.
It's
I think
a-
it's gonna be very nice.
yeah.
Well,
It's
we
a
need
drive
some money.
through Hungary, Austria.
No, not Hungary. To
Then
Croatia.
you're gonna get lost.
No, you're talking about the other way. There's 2 ways actually
I'm not
to go.
going like this.
There's-
If we're going like that. Like it's a long drive as it is.
There's 2 ways to go. You can either go through Middle East.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not going to Syria now. Like, are you serious?
You can either go through the Middle East or you go through Spain
Yeah.
and
then
Barcelona and then take a boat through, from Sevilla into Morocco, and then you drive from Morocco down to Nigeria, which is probably going to take a week or 2 weeks to do that.
2 weeks, I'd say.
And also a lot of immigration processes because I have an African passport, so I'm going to have to apply for a lot of visas. I'm going to have to apply for a lot of visas, and yeah, that's the one reason why I think it's going to take a long time to do
And
that. But
we actually wanted to do it this June, but it's kind
it's
of
not,
impossible.
it's not possible for this June, but it's a plan. It's something we have to do. It sounds very fun. Going through different countries and different cities, seeing different
And I think it's
cultures.
going to be actually very nice for the YouTube channel because it's going to be very.
It's not something I've seen anybody do. Drive from Europe to Africa. So it's a plan, but it's a long time plan. Maybe next year or late this year.
Trust me, this will be tough to write.
I was just thinking for you.
Yeah,
very long.
because he has to listen to all of this all over again to write.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't think. I
I
think.
bet you
I think-
regret that you wrote us first. You got.
I have to. I just have to.
Well, our story is quite difficult. Like we just told you the.
Yeah, we
the
just
tops of it.
we just kind of summarized everything because there's a lot of details to our story actually. It's
I
about
didn't ask
that.
you where you would like to go out is Zrenjanin. Let's say that for them, like Johnny or somewhere to eat.
We
or
went
like
to Johnny
someplace.
just because everyone makes such a
Everyone
big
goes
fuss
to
about
China,
it.
so we wanted to see what's the big deal about the place.
And honestly, I didn't like it.
Well, she didn't like it. I liked it.
I don't like too crowded places. Like I'd rather go somewhere where I have space to dance. If I'm standing and next to that, a girl kept hugging him until I told her to just cop off already because I'm patient, but after a point, like I'm actually very jealous, especially since I know there's no, Serbian girls would jump on the opportunity to seduce the black man. I'm not a fool. Not on my watch.
Well, I liked it because that's my definition of a party. A party has to be packed. It has to be full. It has to have little or no space, because when you have too much space, you sit down and you don't dance.
No, I'm not saying sit down, but did you have any space to move and dance?
That's my idea of a party, if you ask
No,
me.
my idea of party is having a dance floor and dance, you know?
Well, the dance floor, well, I mean, I guess we're two different people when it comes to parties then.
Because Club Johnny has a lot of tables, but there's not really a dance floor where you can go and just dance and not bump into anyone.
I was once there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going.
I liked it. I've partied in.
But it looks nice. It looks nice. I mean.
Yeah, it's very modern, you know. I like the Lions Pub. I've been to Lions Pub.
Yeah.
I've been to Old Times Club. Well, they played the same music, but it was still nice, you know. And I guess that's it. Where else have I been to in Zrenjanin? I haven't been to Pescar. She has refused to take me there yet, but I guess when we're doing 24 hours in Zrenjanin, we're gonna have to go there. And where else? That's basically it.
Basic. We went to Basic, but
oh yeah,
it's
it
not really
wasn't.
a party.
Yeah,
Well,
we
it
just
is.
went there just to chill, you know.
But what would you like to do?
What would I?
Except opening your own place.
Okay.
I mean, like.
He wants to be a lawyer. I told him no.
That's one plan she doesn't like. I actually want to go back to law school because my first degree was I have a degree in international law and diplomacy, and it's not really easy to find a job in that field, you know, because you have to work with an embassy or an international organization, which is not very easy if you don't know people, you know. So I was actually thinking of going back to school to study law because I've always wanted to be a lawyer, but that might be very expensive and a long time. So
But now it's not about that. It's about his personality. I don't want him to kill his soul with law because he's a creative person, you know. He's not supposed to be a lawyer. That's what I think.
Maybe he can defend the murder like with laughter. You know?
Exactly.
I don't know. I think what he's doing now, he does it very good. And if he concentrates on, I finished graphic design in high school, so I can even, well, we're kind of working together on that, and I know some things, and I teach him, and he's actually catching up very fast, and I see he enjoys it. I've
it's
never
fun.
seen him talk about law so happily, like he talks about social media, and so I think it's not about money for me, it's about being happy, and at the end of the day, he's gonna work his whole life. So he has to do something he loves and not something that's good.
Well, yeah, I'm rethinking my options. Instead of going for the law, I'm actually thinking of going back to school for social media marketing or graphic designing. That's kind of what I'm thinking and hoping now. But then you still need to make money to go back to school. So I still have to hustle first before I go back to school.
I think that's it. I will stop recording.
Okay.